prayer for this work is in the name of all the unborn children that are now getting ready to come down here and watching us preparing ourselves for their arrival, so we are strong and big enough to meet them. We are preparing the landing ground for them to actually arrive and feel safe, and so they can be relaxed and not disconnect from the source, so they can maintain this amazing connection that every being can rightfully maintain if they're not traumatized. We just need to raise a new generation of human beings that are not disconnected, that are not traumatized. Create the new level of consciousness through the children that are coming in through right now. We're one generation away from heaven and earth. This is my slogan, this is my logo. We're one generation away from cleaning up this mess and creating a sane, beautiful society that we've been waiting for. When we do this limbic recoding process, it gives us a new memory of a different birth. 3, 2, one. You're there. We can choose uninstall the old program. We are in the time and space of creating new rules, creating new world order, basically. This is what it is. We need to come up with ideas that include the body, include the reference and reverence to the physical shape, to the physical body, that it's not after we die that we can go to heaven. It's not out of our body that we can be okay and feel safe and gorgeous and beautiful. We need to bring that information into now and here and claim our right for happiness. We the people deserve to thrive and live in harmony with our environment, with the planet Earth. Creating a new generation that is not programmed on pain and suffering is the shortest cut to thriving. These are the people who really know how to be well. And they will teach us. They will grow up and teach us how to love and how to be loved fearlessly, generously. How not to be afraid of having kindness and compassion as a norm of life. In my understanding, that's the most important work on this planet right now. But there is absolutely nothing more urgent and more profoundly efficient than the work of preparing the landing ground for the incoming souls. It's really that simple. I was an actress when I heard about it, and this concept was as far from the vicinity of my thinking, from my world, as the nearest star. It just was not part of my world description. Anything concerning babies or pregnancies But then when I realized that the mess we're in as a species, as people, as humankind, the way we live is so inappropriate really to the way we could be living. It really was so dramatic that I understood that if we change the way we're born, we can change the way we live. This work started as a work of preparation of pregnant couples for graceful delivery, but in the process it was discovered that it works for everybody, pregnant or non-pregnant. And the thing is that just giving birth to a baby, it's not the end of the story. Now we need adults who know how to create a safe environment for those babies. Now we need the adults who are able to sustain and hold the sacred space for them to grow. And if the adults are still running the drama and old stories and are not really capable of being emotionally present for those children to really provide that space for them to grow and come into their power, then what's going to happen? Then those children will be traumatized all over again, just not through the birth itself, but, a month later, 2 months later. It's not a lot of gain if those babies have to have adults that are severely depressed or self-absorbed with their own drama. It's really important. The birth is not the end of the story. That's the whole point, that we really need to prepare ourselves. How are we going to meet that next generation of people that are coming on now, coming strong in large numbers? We need to sort of run ahead of the horse in order to lay tracks for them to be able to bring in that energy of the new being, the new person that is coming in right now. It's not just per se an adult that is an immediate guardian or parent or grandparent for the new baby or a toddler. There is that moment that when we shift that energy within ourselves, it affects the quality of attention that the mass mentality can hold. Do I need to explain what 100 monkey effect is? No, we all know what that means. It means that the critical mass of awakened individuals is reaching the critical mass in which that number of people that are conscious and aware of the effect their thoughts and actions and decisions and choices are what kind of effect it has on the mass mentality.
So would you say that you're a part of a conscious evolution?
I am a part of conscious evolution. And in my age category, I am in the front lines. And there is a generation before me that was bringing the notion of consciousness into mass mentality, but they were in such small numbers. They got burned really fast. I am the first generation that is capable of sustaining the intensity of being in the front line. I am the first generation that is managing to actually have a good time, not get persecuted, not get burned at the stake, not get sent to gulag, and be able to afford the free thinking, get away with it, and enjoy it, and live to see the fruits of our labor of love. So, and because there was the generation ahead of me, I feel like I got it easier, because they were the real front line that had to throw themselves under the tanks and had to break the walls with their foreheads, that they didn't really have any tools. They didn't have anybody to guide them, to ask questions. They did not have anybody ahead of them. So there were just a few of them who made those holes in the walls. So my generation could come in larger numbers and pour down into those openings, and we could be in greater numbers. So the generation after me has greater numbers yet, and they have it easier. And the next generation, you know, people in their 30s and in their 40s, they are now, you know, raising the flag, and this is part of mass mentality at this point. There is no way of stopping what started. So secretly, I actually know that we already won. I know that the war is over, that we are victoriously just waiting for those people who are born already, that we have the critical mass of them already. They just need to grow up and come into their power. And the new ones that are coming in this year, next year, it's like the next species. They are the newer model of our species. They come equipped with amazing capacities that we could not even dream of having. Well, we could dream. We were dreaming about all of this. But now it's the reality. So I feel good. I lived my life well. The results are amazing. I'm very happy with how it plays out, and long-term shifts and discoveries and new experiences that people are able to have after the workshops. I have amazing letters that they're writing to me where they share their stories, how deeply, profoundly they were affected, and how they were able to open up and feel free to be creative, to live their life from the place of power without holding back, without being afraid to know what they're capable of, with freedom of taking responsibility for themselves and their life. And for pregnant couples, it was quite a dramatic response of sharing stories how they would be able to give birth peacefully, without fear, without anxiety. That's the main result that I see, that it would affect a pregnant couple who would be struggling, not knowing how to overcome the fear of birth, that simple primal terror of approaching delivery. And then after the workshop, they would tell me, "Oh, I'm not afraid anymore. I know I can do this. It happened a few times that it was not this victorious story. Yeah, it was 3-hour labor and the baby was 10 pounds and not even a nick of tear, and it was just beautiful and wonderful. Sometimes I would hear stories that, yes, I did my best and we did everything we could, but we ended up in a C-section. But it was still the level of consciousness that people were able to experience. Even though they had to end up in C-section, they still had the experience of giving birth and were able to allow the hormonal dialogue between the baby and the mother be initiated and established, so all the systems in the baby were activated that needed to be activated. And then the C-section comes not as a resignation of powerlessness, but it comes as imprint of when I really need help, it comes. And that is a positive experience when C-section comes as real emergency, as a real answer to the critical situation, not as an elective C-section when there is not even an attempt to give the baby a chance to experience the activation of all the systems in the body. Even the elderly people that I had, quite a few of them, benefited dramatically from the Limbic Imprint ReCoding workshop. Peaceful acceptance of aging and natural shifts in their bodies. They could understand their bodies better. They were able to love their bodies even in this process of natural, logical process of aging. And young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, for me 50s is a young age. So people as young as 50s also reported an amazing, profound understanding of how they were running their energies in certain patterns, and realizing how they don't have to if that certain pattern is not serving them anymore, and they feel like they would like to shift and cancel some of the agreements that they had in life and create new sets of experiences and contracts, so to speak, that they have what it takes to start their life from scratch and create a whole new reality. And this is what it's all about, to go after what we actually want versus indulge and sulk in what we don't want for ourselves.